We all know the big names in spooky stories: Slender Man, Bloody Mary, the hook-handed guy. But urban legends go way deeper. Today, we're digging into the weirdest, most obscure tales you've probably never heard of. These are the stories whispered in small towns, the ones that feel just real enough to make you wonder. Forget just ghosts. Think cursed Soviet sedans, mysterious footprints, and a man in a bunny suit who's definitely not here for Easter. These are the B-sides of horror folklore. And sometimes the B-sides are the real bangers. So grab a snack, maybe turn on a light, and get ready for some truly bizarre legends from around the globe. Let's dive in. First stop, Fairfax County, Virginia. Suburbs, history, and a man in a bunny suit with an axe. The Bunny Man legend starts with a guy in a white suit terrorizing people near a bridge, now called Bunny Man Bridge. The story: an escaped asylum patient dons a bunny costume and attacks trespassers. But the truth? Stranger. In 1970, police reports describe a man in a bunny suit yelling at people and throwing a hatchet through a car window. A week later, he was seen chopping at a porch post, threatening anyone nearby. No ghosts, no lunatics, just a real angry man in a bunny suit. The legend snowballed. Now he's a ghost, a killer, a supernatural menace. Kids dare each other to visit the bridge, especially on Halloween. People leave carrots as offerings, and police have to patrol the area to keep thrill-seekers away. The real events were scary enough, but the legend grew into something even wilder. Stories now include mutilated rabbits, satanic rituals, and ghostly apparitions. It's a perfect example of how a weird, true story mutates into full-blown folklore. Is the bridge haunted? Maybe not by a ghost, but definitely by the memory of a bizarre, real-life event. Sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones who actually existed. A ghost can't throw a hatchet at you, but a guy in a bunny suit did. The Bunny Man legend lives on, a mix of fact and fiction that keeps people coming back for more. It's a reminder. Sometimes reality is stranger than any ghost story, so if you're ever in Fairfax County, maybe skip the late-night bridge visit, or at least don't forget your carrots and keep your car doors locked. On the mist-shrouded back roads of western Pennsylvania, where the night air hangs heavy and the trees seem to guard ancient secrets, a legend stirs in the darkness, a faceless, glowing figure said to haunt the lonely highways after midnight. They call him the Green Man, or in whispers, Charlie No-Face, a name that chills the blood of those who claim to have glimpsed him in the shadows. The stories say he's a restless spirit, doomed to wander the abandoned tunnels and forgotten roads, his skin glowing an unnatural green, forever searching for something lost to the night. But behind the legend lies a shadowy truth, a real man named Raymond Robinson, whose life was marked by tragedy and mystery. In 1919, a fateful moment changed everything. As a curious child, Raymond reached for a power line, and in a flash of electricity his face was forever altered, his features lost to a cruel accident. Shunned by daylight and the stares of strangers, Raymond became a phantom of the night, wandering the roads in silence. His presence felt more than seen. Drivers, catching a fleeting glimpse of his illuminated face, recoiled in terror, fueling rumours of a monster lurking in the darkness. The legend grew, twisting with every retelling. He became a ghost, a demon, a test of courage for those daring enough to seek him out in the dead of night. Yet, in the shadows, Raymond was gentle, his only wish to find peace in the quiet hours, hidden from a world that feared him. But the night brought cruelty too, taunts, thrown objects, and laughter echoing through the tunnels, turning his solitude into a spectacle. The legend is haunting, but the truth is more unsettling, a man transformed into a monster by the fears and whispers of those around him. Raymond Robinson's story ended in 1985, but the Green Man's shadow still lingers, drifting through the hills and tunnels of Pennsylvania. Today, the tunnel draws thrill-seekers and ghost hunters, all searching for a glimpse of the supernatural, unaware that the true haunting is the memory of a man misunderstood. The Green Man's tale is a warning. Sometimes the most chilling stories are not about monsters, but about the darkness within ourselves. The Green Man was never a phantom. He was a man, shrouded in rumour, his pain twisted into legend by those who never truly saw him. So next time you hear a monster story whispered on a deserted road, remember, the truth behind the legend may be more mysterious and more human than you ever imagined. The real horror isn't the ghost in the tunnel, it's how a man's suffering became a tale to frighten and amuse. The Green Man's legacy lingers, a silent reminder to look deeper, to question the shadows, and to seek the truth behind the stories we tell. Monsters aren't always what they seem. Sometimes they're just people, hidden in the darkness, longing to be understood. And sometimes all they seek is a quiet walk beneath the stars, far from the eyes and the fears of a world that never truly knew them. Ojai, California, boutiques, retreats, and the shaman. The legend a burned spirit haunts the woods, attacking hikers and drivers. The story traces back to a 1948 wildfire. Supposedly, a son survived, went mad, and became the charman. He's described as blackened, skin peeling, eyes missing. A terrifying figure on Creek Road. But there's no record of a father-son tragedy or a skinning. That's pure invention. The real seed? Likely a badly burned man who survived a fire, seen as frightening by locals. Or maybe a news story about a disturbed man after a family tragedy. Real events, mixed with rumour, became a monster tale. Now teens dare each other to call out the charman's name. It's classic folklore, a spooky road, a tragic if fabricated backstory, and a monster. The charman is a patchwork ghost, stitched from real fears and local trauma. No evidence of a vengeful spirit, but the story endures. It's a dark monument to the area's real tragedies. Sometimes the monsters we fear are the ones we invent, and sometimes they're just echoes of real pain. Devon, England, 1855. Residents wake to find hoof-like prints in the snow, stretching for miles, over rooftops, walls, even through haystacks. The tracks defied logic, single file, bipedal and seemingly unstoppable. Panic spread. The only explanation? The devil himself had walked through town. Over time, theories piled up. Escaped kangaroos, weather balloons dragging chains, even badgers or otters. None fit the sheer scale or weirdness of the tracks. The prince went over obstacles, through pipes and across the countryside for up to 100 miles. Was it a hoax, a mass delusion, or something truly unexplained? The devil's footprints remain a historical mystery. No one knows what really happened. It's a legend born from fear of the unknown, and it's never been solved. Sometimes the weirdest stories are the ones with no answers at all. The devil's footprints are a reminder. Not all mysteries get explanations. The legend endures, a chilling piece of folklore that still baffles today. Was it supernatural, or just a trick of nature? The truth is lost to time, but the story lives on. In Devon, the devil really did leave his mark, and sometimes that's all it takes to create a legend. Some mysteries are best left unsolved. The Vanishing Hitchhiker, one of the world's most famous ghost stories. A driver picks up a hitchhiker, usually a young woman. She vanishes before reaching her destination. Sometimes she leaves something behind. Sometimes the driver learns she died years ago. The story exists everywhere, but each place adds its own twist. In Chicago, it's Resurrection Mary, a woman in white who disappears near a cemetery. In Hawaii, it's the goddess Pele, rewarding or punishing drivers based on their kindness. In South Africa, it's the Uniondale hitchhiker, so famous she has a statue. The core is always the same, a brief, eerie encounter with the supernatural on a lonely road. The legend adapts to local culture, history and fears. It's a ghost story that could happen to anyone, making it all the more unsettling. The Vanishing Hitchhiker endures because it's personal, relatable, and just plausible enough. It's not about haunted houses. It's about the haunting coming to you. Whether it's a party dress or a white shroud, the story is a cautionary tale and a piece of living folklore. Every region has its own version, but the chill is universal. Next time you're driving at night, check your back seat. You never know who or what might be hitching a ride. Cold War Eastern Europe. A black Volga sedan prowls the streets, snatching children and vanishing without a trace. The car, a Gaz-21 Volga, was a real symbol of power used by officials and the KGB. The legend, if you saw one, run. The driver might be Satan, a priest, or a government agent. Victims were said to be kidnapped for their blood or organs, feeding Cold War paranoia. The story reflected real fears: secret police, disappearances, and the faceless power of the state. After the Soviet Union fell, the legend morphed. Now it's a BMW or Mercedes driven by mafia or businessmen. The villain changed, but the fear stayed the same. The Black Volga is more than a ghost story. It's a cultural artifact, a way to talk about real dangers in coded form. Urban legends like this are social commentary, giving shape to collective anxieties. Sometimes the scariest monsters have government plates. The Black Volga legend endures, a rolling symbol of fear and mistrust. It's a reminder folklore often hides a kernel of truth. And sometimes the real horror is the world we live in. East Asia's elevator game isn't just a story, it's a ritual, a dare to visit another dimension. Alone in a 10-story building, you press a sequence of elevator buttons: 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5. Don't get out. If a woman enters on the 5th floor, don't look or speak, she's not human. Press 1. If the elevator goes up instead of down, you're headed to another world. The other world looks like ours, but it's dark, empty, and there's a red cross in the distance. To return, repeat the sequence exactly. If you mess up, you might never make it back. The woman may try to talk to you, ignore her, or risk being trapped forever. The legend exploded online, especially after the mysterious death of Elisa Lam in LA, fueling speculation and fear. The elevator game is terrifying because it's interactive, a story you can try yourself. It plays on our fear of elevators, enclosed spaces, and the unknown. It's a modern legend for a digital age, blending ritual, risk, and the supernatural. The rules are simple, but the consequences are chilling. It's not just a story. It's an invitation to test the boundaries of reality. The elevator game endures because it dares you to believe. Would you try it? Sometimes the scariest stories are the ones you can play, and sometimes the door really does open to somewhere else. Just hope you can find your way back. There you have it. 7 legends that prove the world is weirder than you think. From hatchet-wielding bunnies to cursed cars and elevator rituals, these stories show how folklore reflects our deepest fears. Now it's your turn. What's your favourite obscure legend? Got a hometown story the world needs to hear? Drop it in the comments. Let's build a massive archive of local weirdness. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the bizarre. If you want more, hit subscribe and ring the bell for the next adventure. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and maybe think twice before picking up hitchhikers or bunnies.